right offline for 1 point. Wood was definitely behind Hoffner there for pace, but used his body at the last moment to shepherd the Port Adelaide player away from the ball and recovered well to kick the ball into attack.
Trevor Sorrell has done a good job on Roach. In fact, Cloak is now at full forward. Knocked over the top by Giles. Ebert running towards the boundary for a throw-in. A throw-in by the boundary umpire, Nat and Cloak. Handball back to Wiley. Wiley looking for Roach. Roach high in the air, takes a mark this time. We've got a bit of attention there by number 10 from Port Adelaide, and that was Stephen Williams. But Roach hasn't had the best of days for Richmond, but he can certainly play football. And he comes. Plenty of concentration. Puts the ball up in the air, lets the wind take it back, but it took it back too far. 1 point only. Richmond 11-17. Port Adelaide 10 goals, 8. Sorrell again. Port Adelaide fullback. Kicks out. Mark Lee's out there in front. Puts 2 big hands up. Can't take the mark. Across the boundary line again, out of bounds. Port Adelaide still trailing at this stage by 15 points. The throw in. Cloak is there, so is Chris Nat. Ebert is behind, number 7 Russell Ebert. The handball comes out to Mark Lee. Mark Lee's kick is partially smothered. Waller's in there, so is Tony Giles. Throws the ball away. Stephen Williams appeared to be manhandled. Yes, he's taken the free kick. Too high. Williams kicks the ball towards the half-back flank. On his own, a Richmond player can't pick him up at this stage. Kick towards centre-half forward. Roach in front again, tries to take the mark. Bartlett's behind, runs almost into an open goal. Not an open goal. He missed on this occasion. 1 point only. Richmond have kicked 3 straight points. 11-18. Port Adelaide 10-8.
Yes, the Magpies appear to be struggling now, Peter. As I mentioned earlier, a few of them seem to be getting tired, and there's a Port Adelaide player down there in the back of the screen who seems to be hurt. Is it Williams? But in the meantime, Sorrell kicks in towards Phillips, who had a great first half, died out of it somewhat in that second, or the start of the second half, but now that was a strong mark. Phillips from the half-back line. Put Port Adelaide along centre wing. A nice looking kick, going to drop short however, and Smith comes in and quickly takes the mark. Well, the handball wasn't good and runs his teammate and Landy straight over the boundary line. A throw in at centre wing. Richmond 11-18, Port Adelaide 10 goals 8. Lee and Nat. Lee gets the tap down, but it goes straight to Hoffner. Lee slips it over to Rains. Rains in turns looking for backup support. Gets it back there from Wall, but it's back to Rains. Rains now a long kick to the half-forward line. It's a floater, made it very difficult for Mount to get. He's got a chance now, however, he wants support. The handball wasn't good. Going through was Belton. Gets the handball quickly over now to Port Adelaide teammate in Ian Bradmore. Well up from full back, and a fine mark by Granger. Slips it over to Aegis, who heads for home, and that kick is offline, and only a minor score for Port Adelaide, but a fine attacking movement to the Magpies. We've had a few more changes, Peter Marker. Just watch the mark there by Granger. We've got it quickly across to Aegis, who wasn't equal to the task. We find that Russell Johnson has gone off for Port Adelaide. He was playing so well in ruck, and he's having a spell in this final quarter.
Brian Wood kicks the ball towards centre-half forward, and up goes Greg Phillips to take a super mark. Across to Clifford. Clifford chips beautifully towards the left side of the ground to Brian Cunningham. On goes Cunningham. Evans is there. A mark to Evans. Elects to play on. Kicks for goal. It goes across the front of goal and misses. 1 point only. Port Adelaide 10-10. Richmond 11-18.
Played 5 minutes of this final quarter. Richmond in control at the moment. A good crowd here at Alberton. I would think in the vicinity of 10,000-11,000 people. And the Magpies won't like seeing their, or Magpie supporters won't like seeing their heroes humbled. Mark Lee, but Port Adelaide doing well against the VFL Premier. Waterson out on a long lead. Pushed off the ball. He's done it well. Phillips slips it over. Belton in turn trying to gain ground, but he can't keep it in play, and it's out of bounds on the far side at centre wing. Nat and Lee. Nat has given away certainly height and also a bit of bulk to Lee, who's played a brilliant game for Richmond. They go into attack again. Bradmore getting back on the ball, can't control it. Bartlett's there, gets rid of Bradmore. He's in the forward pocket, hooks it around the corner. Back in defence, however, Bradmore will take the mark. It only travelled about 10 metres, but sufficient for it to be called a mark. Bradmore. Pass is not a, well, the kick is not a good one, but it was a good pass in terms that it found Cunningham.
Brian Cunningham breaks away. Right foot this time. Kick number 16. Goes towards centre wing. Up goes Mount. Richmond player Stephen Mount is interfered with and will take the free kick. Danny Hughes also on the ground for Port Adelaide. Stephen Mount kicks towards centre half forward. Big David Cloak's there. So is Bradmore. So is Phillips. Players everywhere. Bradmore tries to break through the pack. A bear hug from Cloak. Walls. Plenty of action on the ground here at the moment. Richmond player, 2 Port Adelaide players on top of him. Untidy stuff, and in comes umpire Swords from Victoria to bounce the ball. Mervyn Kane's there, so is Hoffner. Cloak. Hoffner takes the handball. Jeff Raines takes the mark.
He's taken a far greater part in the second half, Peter.
Yes, I thought he's beaten fairly well by Abernethy in the first half. Yeah. Robert Wiley, Clifford over the top. Bartlett comes in, normally kicks him from there, but dribbles that one through the goals. Touch, 1 point only. Richmond 11-19, Port 10 goals 10.
Sorrell. He's looking for a short lead. Goes out towards Phillips. Wood over the top. The 2 Victorian players spoil one another. Kinnear gives the run to Cunningham. If he can keep it in play, they're in business. But a good tackle, and the ball has gone out of play. Just could not quite pick it up on the run and had to hesitate momentarily.
We were lucky it wasn't holding the ball at the end. He stopped, ducked the head, and the tackle was a pretty good one.
Phillips taps it back cleverly to Hoffner. The handball's a shocker. Raines wobbles one in towards Bartlett now. He'll get the backup support for Wiley. Got the pace to get round the defending player. Hooks in towards full forward. Standing his ground there is Cloak. Can't pull it down, however. Bradmore grabbed from behind by Waitman. And he's gone for a fish in the back, actually, Waitman. And the free kick will be taken by Ian Bradmore in the full-back left pocket.
Played pretty well too, Bradmore. He's had to look after some tall timber, and he's done it well. Finds Cunningham. Cunningham left foot to Clifford. Clifford is grabbed in a rather unusual manner by Emmett Dunn, but manages to get the ball over to Kinnear. Kinnear to Belton. Belton played well. Over the top, Russell Ebert, fallen out of the game. Kicks towards centre half forward. Hughes. First grab, first mark. Well done, Danny Hughes.
Yes, well, we saw him in the reserves last year playing defence. Port Adelaide have got a big opinion of this young fellow, justifiably so. And he's come into the game in this final quarter, as Peter Marker has told you, and his first grab has been a fine mark. He's 40 metres out. The kick is going to drop short, right in the square. With a chance to clear it is Francis Burke. Slips it across to Wall. Wall's kick is high, back to the half-back line. In goes Hughes again. Butters up again with a second kick, and this time he's found in the forward pocket David Granger. Only 15-20 metres out. And Granger, who had one brief sojourn in the latter part of the second quarter, has come back on at the start of the final quarter. And we saw him take that fine mark previously and give the handball across to Aegis. Now he's got a chance of a goal for Port Adelaide. And the kick looks to be true offline. Ooh, the crowd at the back went a little bit wild, but the umpire certainly didn't share their enthusiasm. And a point is what Port Adelaide didn't need at the moment. 10-11, trail Richmond 11-19.
I don't think David Granger was too rapt either. He thought it was a goal. Anyway, Francis Burke with a screw punt. Kicks out. Russell Ebert up high. Can't manage to catch the ball. Stephen Mount's there. So is Landy, I think it is. Goes forward. Finds Bartlett. Bartlett on a lead. Very hard to beat. Giles has done a pretty good job. I don't think he can do that.
You can try.
I think he's probably tried everything that any footballer could during his career, Kevin Bartlett, but didn't get away with it on that occasion. Kicks towards full forward. Bradmore over the top. The player in front was Roach. I think he was the only player to catch the ball, or was it Cloak? Pretty hard to tell. They're both giant footballers, and take your pick. If Cloak doesn't mark it, Roach does, or vice versa. Number 33, Cloak. Going for a short one, which is unusual. He might as well have kicked the ball backwards. Eckerman intercept. Well done, Eckerman. Handballs onto poor Pleasure. Tears away. Looks for Russell Ebert. Doesn't find him. He couldn't catch that ball. Belton comes in. Kicks off the ground towards the centre wing. Over the line and out of bounds. Port Adelaide are lifting a bit.
11-19 to 10-11. That will help if Richmond are going to persist short passing in the forward lines, and we see Russell Johnson back on the ground again. He played well for 3/4, and if Port Adelaide can gain his clearance, it'll be a big plus for them in season 1981. Johnson and Mark Lee at the throw-in. Lee makes front position, taps it cleverly back, taken away now by Rains, high towards midfield. Setting himself there will be Kane. Can't take the mark. Waterson, the handball is a bad one, straight to Belton, the opposition. He wobbles one back towards midfield, and a fine mark taken back there by Roach, is it? Not Roach, this is Strawn. Strawn just the check side of centre. The drop punt goes to the half-forward line. Looking for Roach this time, but reading the ball far better is Trevor Sorrell, and he takes the mark on the half-back line.
Played well, Sorrell. Roach is one of the best full forwards around. The kick's not a good one. It gives Mount a chance, but Greg Phillips intercepts. Uses the left foot. Towards the boundary line. Picks up. Mount in hot pursuit. Ivan Eckerman has just come off. The kick along centre wing finds Kim Kinnear. Kim Kinnear's also done a pretty good job. Kick number 9. With the left foot. Goes towards centre half forward. Over the top. Stephen Williams. The rebound finds Darryl Cale. He can kick a goal if he's good enough. Not good enough on this occasion. 1 point only. Port Adelaide 10-12. Richmond 11-19. Port need goals in.
Yes, Peter, on most occasions their handball today has been brilliant, and we saw another such instance there, but they just couldn't complete it, and that goal would give them enthusiasm and confidence, and certainly lift the crowd here down at Albion, and a big crowd for the opening game for Port Adelaide in 81. Rains. Paul Pleasure, the tackler. Chance for Russell Ebert. Sets up the pass now, looking for Aegis. Stands his ground, takes the mark on the half-forward line, but he's too far out to score from there. But he's won himself a 15-metre penalty, and this is going to help the situation. Brings him to within about 35 or 40 metres. Port Adelaide down by 13 points. Aegis puts it high, slightly offline. Evans stands his ground. Burke spoils, and Richmond come away now to the lone man on the half-back line. It's taken there by Wood. He in turn has the running Kane. Kane at centre wing. Puts it long to half-forward line. Cloak up over the top, but it's Roach in front. Both of them had the turn to touch on the ball, but Cloak, the front man, has been paid it, and he's got it 35 metres out.
Terrible twins, these two, Ian, because you can put your attention on one of them, and the other one drops in and takes a mark. They're both giants.
Cloak. Roach it is. From about 35 metres out, has just pushed it offline, I believe. 1 point only. No, he's got a goal. That's his third goal, and Richmond kick clear again now. 12-19 to Port Adelaide's 10-12.
It's a pretty good movement forward by Richmond. Rains was the player, and have a look at the way these Victorians move. Cloak up and behind you. That's not real good team play, but Roach is good enough for the job in front, takes the mark and kicks the goal. So Richmond doing it pretty well, leading at this stage by 21 points, 12-19 to 10-12.
Russell Johnson. Back on the ball against Mark Lee. Johnson gets the thump away. Rains back. Lee. Johnson there as well. Burring for the ball on the bottom of the pack is Stephen Williams. No, it's Andy Porpecia. Kicks long to the half-forward line. Evans up, can't bring it down. In defence, it's done. He gets the kick away towards centre wing. Mark Lee there on his lonesome. Pushes out a pass. Cloak is going to be a leaper, but it's Roach behind who takes the ball. Didn't get off the ground to do it. Cloak couldn't quite make the grade, and Roach has taken the mark about 35 metres out. has kicked 3 goals.
Doesn't need many chances, Ian. He was right out of the game in the first 3 quarters and suddenly takes a couple of marks, and one thing he can do is kick goals.
Michael Roach. His 10th kick is good, straight through the middle. The umpire hardly moved a muscle, and Roach indicates his 4th goal. And Richmond kicking clear in this last quarter. 16 minutes in, 13 goals, 19 to Port Adelaide's 10-12.
And try to keep to the script this time. Okay, right, action! Wow, look at all the great used cars here at Dave Boyd. They really... How much? Oh, yes, Dave Boyd really does a good deal better. Gee, that's nice. And how about that? Dave Boyd offers fantastic trade-ins on... Hey, I like the look of that. And that. Sorry, there's 2 Dave Boyd showrooms, both on Port Road. Pardon?
I think Mr. Boyd would like a word with you.
I'd like a word with Mr. Boyd. Oh, Mr. Boyd, I've got this fantastic set of wheels I'd like to trade in.
The Red Cross helps people in little ways and in big ways. They help with blood, with basic emergency training, with transport for the disabled, with disaster relief, and in many other ways, the ways you would expect the world's largest relief organization to help. But they can't help people unless people help them. So, help Red Cross help.
Next Saturday and Sunday. Khan, available on LP or cassette at record stores now.
We're talking earlier about Russell Johnson going off at 3/4 time. It looks as though Port Adelaide has reverted to the system of interchanging their ruckman from the bench. Richmond tried it. I was speaking to one of their officials prior to the game. He said they tried it. He said the players don't like it and we don't think there's any great value in it.
Yes, and Mark Lee normally rucks all day too, which is a bit of an advantage.
When you've got man mountains like Cloak and also Roach in the forward lines, you wouldn't be struggling, and Emmett Dunn in defence, you wouldn't be struggling for people to take the bounces and throw-ins, would you?
That's for sure. And number 15, Ross Aegis, takes the mark. The ball was put to him by Kinnear. Aegis kicks towards full forward. Granger is there, but 2 Richmond players in front, knock the ball forward. Wood overruns it. Back comes Aegis. Back turns, he's in trouble, but gets his foot to the ball. And Paul Sarah back onto the ground, takes the catch, wheels around, almost holding the ball. Away to Landy. Landy to the centre of the ground. The giant Mark Lee kicks towards full forward. Who's it going to be this time? Cloak or Roach? No one can grab the ball. Bartlett. Oh, superb Bartlett. Had more pace than anybody else, but didn't kick the goal. 1 point only. Had a few opportunities, Bartlett, but hasn't kicked as straight as he normally does. Kick number 16. Not a bad effort. Port 10-12. Richmond 13-20.
Kick in by Sorrell to the outer side. Lee at the back of the pack, but in front the mark is taken over there. Is it Rains? Can't pick him up at the moment. Pushes it back towards their half-forward line. In defence, it's Greg Phillips for Port Adelaide. Has the running Bradmore down in front of the members' stand. Kicks longer to Danny Hughes. Can't quite get there. Well tended on this occasion by Strawn, who does it well. Kicks back to the half-forward line, and there is the big fellow in Cloak again. Too far out to score, looking for the lead. Gives it across. Kane heads towards goal, and that's going to be awfully close. Well, marked on right on the line. Transferred over to Giles. Giles in turns looks for Kinnear on the outer side. Right there with him is Wood. Kinnear does it well, but can't keep the ball in play, and it's going to be a throw-in on the outer side on Richmond's half-forward right flank, and we've played 18 minutes of the final quarter.
Yeah, Mervyn Kane normally plays half-back. He's in the forward line now. Had a kick for goal, but not quite long enough. Chris Knapp, Mark Lee, does it one-handed, kicks towards full forward. Roach is there, so is Sorrell. So is Hoffner. There's no one that'll beat him with the ball. One of the quickest players in Australia. The handball to Clifford. Clifford back to Hoffner. Hoffner can't quite handle it. Roach will go a long way down from full forward. Back to Clifford. Good work Hughes onto Smith. Half-back to Richmond takes the relieving mark.
Smith kicks towards centre wing. Waterson sets himself, Cloak over the top. Waiting for the ball is Kane. Slips it to Wiley. Wiley in turn, Cloak. He's going to be tackled well and drops the ball. And the free kick will be taken by Stephen Williams on the half-back line. Stephen Williams has been used as an interchange player. Hasn't had much of a run on the ball. We've seen him more in the forward pocket. Danny Hughes tries to pick it up. And he's going to win a free kick for a high tackle. The young Port Adelaide player at centre wing has come on and straight into centre half forward. A fairly difficult baptism to big-time football. And there's the mark to Clifford. Not paid. Called the play on. Francis Burke returns the ball towards the centre wing position. It wasn't Francis Burke, it was Scrimshaw. And their players vie for the ball, and the umpire will come in and bounce.
The Port Adelaide have slowed down a lot. Phillips going on with Stephen Mount. Played well today, Greg Phillips. Nat recovers well. Handball's out. Hoffman off the ground towards centre wing, over the line and out of bounds. Port Adelaide at this stage trailing by 26 points. We're 21 minutes into the last quarter. There's Mark Lee. A brilliant ruckman. He's rucked all day. This time he gets a free kick. Couldn't quite pick what that was for, Ian, but
Shepherding and ruck.
Shepherding, was it? Away he goes. Kicks the ball towards centre half forward. Kick number 7. Over the top, Greg Nat. Clifford has got the run of the ball if he wants it. Over the top, Kinnear. Away he goes. He'll kick towards centre half forward. Paul Pleasure. Paul Pleasure breaks away, shoots for goals. Tim Evans and Francis Burke. No one can grab the ball. Francis Burke taps it off the ground towards Emmett Dunn. Out of bounds, left full forward pocket for Port Adelaide. At this stage, Port 10-12, Richmond 13-20.
Yes, it's a 26-point advantage to Richmond, and would appear on the current trend of play far too much for Port Adelaide to catch up in the last, say, 7 or 8 minutes of play. At the throw-in, Granger 18 will be joined by Emmett Dunn 5. The bodies go in. Granger gets the flip away. Cale kicks right across goal, 1-on-1. Francis Burke and Evans, but Burke's body pushes Evans out of it, but the ball beats him out of play. A throw in, full forward right pocket. 22 minutes into the final quarter. Granger again with Dunn. Once again the body's locked. Dunn gets his finger to it. In defence it appears to be rolling. Slips it over to a teammate. Smith can't get a kick clear. Aegis goes through, leaves the ball behind. And I think a free kick will go the way of Port Adelaide here, to be taken in the full forward right pocket by Andy Porplesh.
Goal will be handy here.
Certainly would. Porplesh has been used as an interchange player. He'll have to take the right goalpost. We've seen most of the kicks veering sharply to the left. He takes the right goalpost. It comes back and just sneaks through for a goal. And as Peter Marker said, one that Port Adelaide badly needed. 11-12. Port Adelaide trail Richmond 13-20.
One thing I've noticed today, Ian, is the way Richmond players, when they mark a ball, they're off straight away. They don't stop. And there's Johnny Cale, and no doubt any coach watching this game can learn something from Richmond. And I think Richmond can learn something from Port Adelaide too, because Port's handball, I think, has been superb today, Ian.
Yes, it's definitely been more constructive and destructive, for that matter, than Richmond's, who they seem to use it more to get out of trouble rather to give themselves an advantage. The ball tapped on the back line. Underground kick is not a particularly good one. Waterson can't pick it up. A chance for Kinnear. Short passes to Clifford, who takes the mark under great pressure. The kick from Landy back there wasn't all that good. Williams across goal, out in front of Darryl Cale. If the ball sticks, Port Adelaide back in business. Gets the long handball over to Belton, put him under pressure. He's under real pressure now. Nat with an opportunity. Who's going to give him the run? Nat's going to do it himself. Bolts off towards goal, and he pops it through. What a goal! Well done, big Chris Nat. Thought he'd need help. He didn't. And Port Adelaide have got their 12th goal on the board. 12-12, trailing Richmond 13-20.
Well, it's a trial match, if you like, but there's got to be a winner and a loser, and Port Adelaide are still in with a chance. Chris Nat did that very, very well for a big man. Here it is. The handball from Darryl Cale over the top. Belton, a super dummy, puts it across to Nat, and Nat had one thing to do, kick the ball through the goals, and that he did. Port Adelaide 12-12, Richmond 13-20.
14 points the difference. Big Mark Lee charges through, crashes the pack, does it beautifully, gets it across to a teammate there in Mount, kicks high in towards the forward pocket, but it's gone off the side of his boot and out of play on the full, and it will be Tony Giles to bring the ball back into play for the Magpies.
Ryan Cunningham getting ready to come back on. And, he's kick number 11. Coming up towards centre wing. Port Adelaide player in front, takes the mark. That's Stephen Williams. Gets a bit of attention. And the Port Adelaide crowd roar their disapproval. Williams to Hughes. Hughes, a good recruit for Port Adelaide. Has come on in the last quarter and has done everything right. Kicks towards Ross Aegis. Got plenty of height against him from Smith. Back towards Mervyn Kane. Onto the right foot. Wiley. Phillips. Nobody down, marked by Wiley. On to Hoffner. Hoffner to Greg Matt. He slips over at the wrong time but manages to get up. Kicks towards centre half forward. Aegis. Smith. Emmett Dunn. Clifford onto Cale. Turns around. The ball's in the air. 1 point only. Francis Burke collides with the goalpost, as he's often done in his illustrious career. This time comes off reasonably well. The goalpost still shaking. Port Adelaide 12-13. Richmond 13-20.
Francis Burke to kick in, gets a lead down the outer side from Lee, but he's going over that player's head. Rains will be the leaper for Richmond. 1 grab, 2 grabs, not paid. Port Adelaide with a chance again. Quickly in, it's given across now to Boyd. Long kicking by Williams, going in towards goal, and it's going to be wet. Evans! Fine mark. Could have gone through. Could have gone through had Evans not touched it, but it's best to be sure. Doesn't matter who kicks them, so long as they're kicked. And Evans has taken the mark 1 metre out, right in front. And it's his 7th kick, and Evans' 3rd goal if it's successful. There it goes, and Port Adelaide coming back strongly. His 12th kick. 13-13, Port Adelaide, Richmond 13 goals, 20.
7 points in it. We're 26 minutes in, and there's Jack Cale. I have no doubt whatsoever that he'd like to win this one. As I said, it's only a trial match, but it's a pretty good indication of how South Australian football is going. There's a bit of excitement there on the Port bench. The crowd's roaring. The ball's back in the centre. Everything's ready. And there's big Mark Lee.
Lee and Nat. The bounce favours ball towards Wiley from Rains, but the umpire's given a free kick and it's going the way of Bucky Cunningham for holding the ball. Cunningham uses an interchange player. He's kick number 18 coming up towards the half-forward line. Granger can't bring it down. Evans behind the pack. Gets it around the corner. Port Adelaide a chance through Belton. No, it's Aegis who's going to take it. He's been the goal. And Port Adelaide have got within 1 straight kick of the VFL Premiers Richmond as we're into the 2-minute mark of time on in this final quarter at Alberton, and it's turned into a ripper.
Certainly has, Ian, and the crowd's gone mad. Ross Aegis didn't play in the first half, but he came on, and he's done everything right since. Kick number 18, Cunningham. Granger, Evans come alive. Over the top, Belton, Aegis, no way would he miss from there. 14-13, Port, Richmond 13-20.
Cunningham in the centre of the pitch. Lee over the top of him, and a free kick is again going to the Port Adelaide skipper. Bucky Cunningham giving it his all in the dying moments of this pre-season clash of the half-forward line. Players everywhere. Belton, the handball is wild over towards Aegis. Back there in the fences, Francis Burke. Here's a chance now for Williams. Hooks around the corner. He's popped it through. And I think it's going to be disallowed. And a free kick will go to Richmond. I'm not sure why, but I am sure that the goal has been disallowed to Stephen Williams. And a free kick possibly to Francis Burke for a kick in the back. Let's see who's going to pick it up. Landy pushes it back, and I saw Burke go up pretty quickly, and I would suggest to you it was a fair dinkum mark.
David Granger, not at all happy about that one. The kick towards centre wing, Belton over the top, well spoiled. Nat, the umpire's intercepted again. That looks to be out of bounds. Centre wing, the dying moments of the game, 29 minutes in, the throw-in. 4 places there. Mark Lee's there. So is Chris Nat. Lee over the top. Does it well. A kick off the ground from Sarah. Ineffective. Players everywhere over the ball. And comes the umpire again for another bounce. Port Adelaide trailing by a point. There's some pretty tired players out there. Robert Wiley's one of them. There's the bounce. Mark Lee. Chris Nat. Nat gets the knock through the legs of Hoffman. Recovers. Poor Fleecer's there. So is Plate. Belted along the ground, looking for, but not finding, Bartlett for Richmond. Port Adelaide desperately trying to bridge the gap.
We've had nearly 5 minutes of time on. The ball in the Richmond forward line, inside the half-forward line. The throw in. Cloak it is this time, who gets the tap away. Port Adelaide not to be denied in front of their home crowd. Players vying for the ball on the bottom of the pack. No one can get it clear. And another bounce kick. Only about 45 metres out from the Richmond goal. Cloak uses his body well, hooks in towards full forward. But once again, the ball will bounce out of play. And there's the siren to end the pre-season trial game between the 1980 premiers. But Richmond from the VFL running out the closest of winners, 13 goals 20, has defeated Port Adelaide 14 goals to 13.
Irvan E23. Get a lot in there. Easy loading, driver comfort, cost efficient too. That's Dave Boyd. Sunny van. Now there's economy. Easy to handle. No worries parking either. That's Dave Boyd. What a range. Great deals. Tremendous trade-ins. That's Dave Boyd. Now that's Dave Boyd. Oh, that's Dave Boyd. Right.
Peter, let's do the local, then interstate weather. And Alan at the Bureau's ready for the crossover.
Right. Good morning. Starting your day with Peter Kay on 5DN. What's today going to be like, Alan?
Pete, it's going to be a great day in Adelaide today.
Right, we'll lead on the Adelaide investigation, but check it through. We've got to be sure.
5DN News.
After a month-long investigation, we've got the facts and can now reveal the true story behind
5DN Breakfast and Peter Kay. All the radio you'll ever need.
Life in the Middle Ages is often very predictable. Perhaps that's why I look towards the future. So much is happening, like Lloyd's 66th birthday sale. Look, Lockwood automatic deadlights just $22.50. Paint roller kit $4.50. Black & Decker router and router book only $59.95. And light globes for just 45 cents. Life in the Middle Ages, predictable, but not altogether boring.
Lloyd's. Who else could make such low price predictions come true?
I'm talking to Brian Wood, the acting captain for the Richmond Football Club, and also Jack Cale, coach of Port Adelaide. Brian, welcome to Adelaide.
Thanks, Peter.
And Jack, a good effort. That was a bit more than a trial match today.
Yes, we had a bit to prove. You know, we're playing the best side in Australia, and there's no doubt they are a very talented side, and South Australia hasn't the depth of players that Victoria has, so we were very pleased to do as well, Pete.
Brian, were you flat out today?
I think every player that was on the ground was going 100%, yes.
Did you find any new players that you haven't tried before?
That were playing today. You've put me on the spot there. I'm just trying to think of it.
Can't remember who your players are.
Waterson? Cole Waterson has been at the club for a couple of years.
Matthew Wall came on late. Was he a new player?
No, he's been at the club a couple of... All the players that were playing have been there for a few years. Darryl Freem, your Matthew Walls, your Cole Watersons.
Your established players seem to do the job again. Mark Lee rucked all day again like he did in the grand final last year.
Yes, although Mark I don't think fired in the first half. He was pretty quiet, and Tony got into Mark a bit, and also a couple of the other name players to lift their game, which they did. Jeff Rains as well.
Well, probably one of the reasons why Mark Lee didn't perform that well, or certainly Chris Nat played well, Jack, but Russell Johnson, you're going to have to talk about him. He looked really good today.
Yeah, he's a good player. That's the first time we've seen him play, Peter. He came with a bit of a reputation, although he's a young kid that can't get into the Collingwood. He's third cab off the rank. He played very well considering he didn't know a player. He arrived here late last night, and so he's cold. You know, he comes out cold, and the players just build around him and run around him, and he did very well considering.
He looks the goods. A couple of other players, or one in particular, Paul Belton on the wing, I thought he did a good job.
Paul's had a good season. He's played 3 good trials now, and he's been in and out last year, lost form, and he knuckled down and played very well. But Richmond are such a talented side. You can cut 1 out, you cut 2 out, you cut 3, but they keep persisting. But the same with our players. I thought we persisted all day, and there was not much in it in the finish.
Yeah, I thought there was a contrast in styles today between Port Adelaide. Brian, Port Adelaide to me are a skillful side. They use handball very well. Richmond seem to play the long game, with players up to the ball all day.
Yes, Port Adelaide did use a lot of handball. We pride ourselves that we class ourselves as a skillful side, but we like to kick long as well. If we can kick a 50-yard kick and put it 15 yards in front of our player, we class that as a skillful kick.
Playing in a trial match like this, you tend to want to learn things. Did you see anything today in the Port Adelaide game that you'd like to emulate and take home with you?
No, I think that we want to stick to our game. We don't want to copy anybody else, because we feel that we've got a successful combination of kicking long and breaking the game with a short kick occasionally, but generally kick long and handball and through the middle.
Any Port Adelaide players you'd like to take home? Not with Jack's consent, of course, but anyone that impressed you?
Well, I'm not sure of the guy's name. The fella I played on the wing seemed to get a few kicks. Number 11, Jack.
Kinnear.
Yeah, he sort of roamed around the ground. Number 1, of course, I'm sorry, I don't know their names, but the captain, I thought he played well. And
yeah, Brian Cunningham.
Yes. Obviously, we'd like to take a few, but you can't get hold of them.
Well, you've got most of our players now, so you can't have any more. Jack, the very best for the season. 2 in a row, you'll be looking for number 3. You're running out of goals and things to do, I suppose.
No, as Brian said earlier, really, we try to break it up with handball. We go long, Peter. We don't try and mess around with short play. Occasionally, you know, it's there, but we try and emulate really Richmond's style of play. Richmond and Collingwood, they play similar. Yeah, we want to win 3 in a row. We're very competitive, and, you know, we've got a long way to go, and sure, it was very fierce early and the pressure was there, so we have to keep going.
Well done today, and good luck for the rest of the season, and good luck to you too, Brian. Let's hope Richmond can make it 2 in a row back in Victoria.
Thanks, Peter.
Well, what a magnificent contest there, and unfortunately for the mighty Magpies, going down by 1 point to the VFL Premiers Richmond, but no doubt a great performance by both sides. Just repeating the final scores, Richmond 13-20, 98 points, defeated the Magpies 14-13, 97. Looking at the best players, firstly for Richmond, Wakeman, Big Mark Lee. What a magnificent footballer, 6'7", mobile, strong, able to take the big mark, uses his body well, and he's a very, very exciting player. Strawn, Cloak and Emmett Dunn. The best players for Port Adelaide, Bucky Cunningham, their captain, off to a great start in season 1981. Clifford, Phillips, Tony Giles on the half-back flank, completely shut Bartlett right out of the game. That's no mean feat, and Tony Giles once again appears set for a great season in 1981. Russell Johnson, of course, the Collingwood player, played superbly today, and I would imagine the Port Adelaide officials will be on the first available plane Monday morning to speak to the Collingwood officials, and let's hope, for Port Adelaide's sake, they can in fact win a clearance for Russell Johnson, and Ivan Eckerman again put in a fine performance in defence. The main goal kickers, firstly for Richmond, Roach kicked 4, 2 each to Sarah, Cloak and Wall, and for Port Adelaide, the main goal kickers there, Tim Evans at full forward kicked 3 and Darryl Cale 2.